What's your response to that? Not being an operator.
Not being an operator, I think banks will dominate the business. In my opinion, operators will be the infrastructure for it, but in the end of the day, the banks will come at the top of it. It's like M-Health, when we talk about M-Health, or we talk about any e-commerce business. So my opinion, it's banks will dominate the business and they will take over. It's simple, it's their business. I have faced this in the Middle East when we started Mobibucks. We talked to operators. Then the operators, they were faced by the central bank saying, this is not your business, this is the bank's business, which is true. Transferring money, issuing money, anything has to do with money, it's the banks, but based on the law that I've seen in this part of the world. So that's my opinion.
Then looking at some of the barriers, and if I compare, like, I'm personally from Sweden, and Sweden is one of the most advanced countries when it comes to using digital payment, but in the Middle Eastern region, I understand it's more of a sort of a cash culture, and that is, apart from the regulation that is putting barriers that we heard earlier, how can you transform this sort of cash culture orientation and make people more trusting in payments and paying online and so forth?
What we did is we digitalized the little cash. It's not only us, Mobibucks, I think everyone in this room into mobile payment. What they did exactly, they digitalized the little cash. So imagine if this world with no cash, how many crime you're going to stop every day if the money is virtual and it's basically deposited immediately in your bank account, and then you have to close your shop at the end of the day, nothing to worry about, and go home, and you have not even anyone attack you on the road. That itself is a gift, and it's helping the business to move forward. The most important thing in the mobile payment or any other payment is the understanding. If the people got to understand how this works and what's the benefit out of it, then you will see it moving fast. So I think Mobibucks, Orange, everybody in this room, if they're trying to sell something to the end user, they're trying to sell understanding to be able to help the mobile payments to move forward.
So it's about understanding, but then
Absolutely.
Also education.
Absolutely.
I have a quick comment about the previous question, actually. Just to let everybody here know, the most successful model for the ownership has been, which has been implemented really in all over Africa and South America and different countries, is a joint partnership between the operator and the bank. So this has been the most successful and most popular option. Not the operator alone, not the bank alone. It's just a joint venture between the two. In many countries, like Jordan actually, but in most countries also it wasn't by choice. The central bank forced this partnership because when you're creating e-units in your mobile wallet, you're actually creating money in the economy. So you need a bank partner to hold the same value of cash away from the circulation in order not to create money in the economy, and at a big scale you can devalue the actual currency and cause big issues with the currency value and the issuance. So that's usually today what the model is for the ownership is a joint venture between the operator and the bank.
Yes, I agree, and I said that it's the infrastructure. The operators will be the infrastructure for the banks to come in the top. So the whole infrastructure will be done by the telecom, and then everything was going to come at the top of it, which is I agree.
So your next question, yeah. I will not comment your previous question, but actually cash-driven communities, societies, actually when we think about mobile payment, we not only should think about the recent business models that we use right now, but we also consider the new upcoming business models as well. So buying a coffee with cash instead of a mobile wallet or vice versa is something else. We can discuss this for a long time, and of course we can discuss the NFC technology, other technologies as well. But actually compared to like 5 to 10 years ago, the digital content sales was almost so small, almost we can neglect it. Recently, I want to ask who are in this room are selling digital content, maybe game, social network, digital, whatever, to the end user, trying to sell digital content to the end users. Is there anybody here or there? Yeah. The thing is, when you think about these sort of entrepreneurs and business models, cash is not an option. So you're, for example, registering to a digital content site, a social network, a game, like you're playing like 2 a.m. in the morning. Cash is not an option over there. So in this case, the only option is digital payment. This may be performed by credit card or mobile payment or operator payment. And when you think about unbanked or underaged, under 18 years old community who cannot have credit card, there's no option for them. Who are, there are lots of groups of companies who are targeting under 18 years old or very young population who doesn't have credit card or other debit card as well. So in this case, the only business model is operator billing. So we can easily see that these new business models will successfully come up after this monetization option that we provide to the entrepreneurs.
Just one question from me before we open up for the floor. But yes, this morning there was quite a lot of discussions around the security and trust. Security with giving away information about yourself. But then what about security when it comes to mobile payment? What is it, apart from educating people, how do we secure that the payments, that people feel and trust the mobile payment?
It takes time to do this. I was very happy earlier to see that UAE #1 ranked in terms of e-services. I was part of the team who started the e-government in Dubai, and we faced a big problem earlier to have people to pay with their credit cards. But with time, we get over it. The most important is to start. If you're going to think about the obstacles that you're going to face, you're never going to start. So there has to be a start point, and then if you started and everybody starts following, then the whole wave and the whole way of a payment system will go easily to the people if, as I said earlier, we make them understand how it works.
For credit card transactions, the security issue comes actually with your credit card number, expired identity, CVV code. Anybody can perform a credit card transaction without having your confirmation, because 3D secure system is not a must for online transactions in any country all around the world. It's an option so far. But when you talk about mobile payment, there should be always, for each and every transaction, there should be a confirmation message that should come up this phone number. This is one case, part of the security issue. And the second part is actually, I want to give a real example. In some period of time, we perform some questionnaires to our end users and ask them if they have credit card or why did they prefer mobile payment instead of credit card payment. And there is one very interesting answer that we got from the end user, and he said that, yes, I have a credit card, but instead of using credit card, I prefer to pay with my mobile phone. The reason is that if I give my credit card number, you can charge me, you can create, he was saying that fraud. Actually, you can charge me like the limit of my credit card is like more than $1,000, but for mobile payment, you can only charge like $50 from my. So again, there is a trust issue, but at least the risk level that end user got with mobile payment is much more lower than the credit card.
It's definitely a big issue, and one thing we implemented with Orange Money is that any transaction you do, you have to confirm it with a secret PIN code, and you have to utilize your own handset. So for someone to perform a transaction, somebody has to have your phone and know your PIN code altogether. But honestly, it's still not enough for people to trust the solutions. Most countries implemented mobile wallet solutions. They were given, especially at the very beginning, and some continue to do it, they're given physical receipts for people to do transaction. So you go to a shop and you purchase something with a mobile wallet, or you pay your bill, and then you're expecting a paper receipt. And they implemented specific paper receipts, and we're doing that as well, for people to feel safe, to feel like, okay, I paid my money and I have something physical to show for it, because people are not used to having the electronic transaction done altogether. But to be honest, the biggest challenge, again, like as Ziad said, is the cash culture that we have. I have to repeat this. We did not, in the Middle East and developing countries, we did not go through the evolution of first starting to use credit cards, then using credit cards online, then paying our bills with credit cards online, and feeling safe with the online banking and online technology, online purchases. People are still used to taking the cash to the shop and keeping the cash. We have a lot of labor workers or younger people really literally are keeping the cash under their pillow. So to get these people to be convinced to trust their cash to an operator or a mobile wallet company and trust that they're going to get it back anytime they want, it's a big challenge. It's going to take a long time to educate the market. We've had discussion earlier about the competition with other operators or other mobile payment solutions. And I was saying, in my view, the big competition or the big challenge is to educate the people to try to start utilizing this kind of solutions. And I really welcome the competition. I'm usually happy when I see other competitors in the market, because it means that other people are going to help educate the market, which is the biggest challenge. So it's going to be a tough journey.
Maybe one thing in order to overcome trust is also thinking of money in a different way, not thinking of money as cash, but thinking of money in the terms of minutes, in the terms of credits, and maybe that it's easier to maybe have transactions in minutes. It doesn't feel as harsh maybe as cash. So trying to look at money from different perspectives. Now I just want to open the floor. Who has a question?
Hi, my name is Youssef Sifar from Integral. I have one question. We talked about securing the transaction. What do we do to make sure that the money does not end in the wrong hands? I mean, is there a way to track who's receiving the money? Because I know that that's the concern of many governments.
Can you repeat your question?
Like when I send money to someone and he gets a message and draw the money from an ATM machine, we do not know who this person is. So how do we make sure that it doesn't end in the wrong hands?
Some sort of feedback mechanism, you're meaning?
Not a feedback. It's more like, because I've had presentations like this with banks, and their concern is we should know who receives the money. We know who sends the money, but we don't know who receives the money, because at the end of the day, anyone can have any SIM card, any mobile phone, and can get the money. Okay. So what system is made? Is there any system in place to identify the person who's getting the money?
I mean, systems are different. When you say system, if it's a technical platform, it's of course different at each solution. But anybody who's really doing their homework and providing a proper mobile payment solution, they'll know that they really need to work along the KYC, know your customer regulations, and anti-fraud, anti-terrorism funding. Otherwise, they'll really face a lot of issues with the central banks and with the government. So once we implement these measures, you'll have to have all the identification, all the information with the persons, both sending and receiving, to be able to really be on the safe side of these issues. One transaction that would be considered as money laundering really will shut the whole operation down and will jeopardize the whole company name, whatever business it is, will really blacklist your company in many markets, and it's going to be something terrible. So at least I know for Orange Money, we have to take the ID cards, the national number. We know who's sending the money, who's receiving it. As an operator, we know who owns the cell phone, who's carrying the cell phone, who's making the transaction. And I'm sure no one, I mean, I'll let my colleagues here maybe talk about it. I'm sure they're taking some measures to do such things. You cannot just open up a financial solution for people to deposit money, transfer money without tracking these things, especially this day and age. Maybe 20 years ago it would have been simpler. Today, anti-terrorism funding and anti-money laundering are really big issues in the market. So.
There is nothing today with no KYC. I mean, no information. Even with the telecom business, I guess in 2007 and 2006, they would give you a SIM card as soon as you land at the airport. But nowadays it's different. You have to show an ID, or you have to give some information about you. So basically, as Sammy said, KYC is very important in remittance business if you're talking about money transfer or in opening accounts. So knowing your customer, it's become a mandatory and by the central bank and by everybody to basically issue accounts or receiving money.
Just a follow-on question to that. Sammy, as an operator, basically, if you want to do this KYC